Don't stop.
Hi, thanks so much for joining me on the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. This is my latest episode of This is Everything. I have this segment where I bring it once a week where I talk about something that I think is important to me, something that's happening in the world, something in my life, talking about the community. I talk about kind of like whatever I think is in my mind and I'll share it with you. And my topic today is talking about what I think every older, I'll say gay man, we'll start with the gay men first, goes through. So basically what you if you come out of the closet or you start going out, so from my story, I ended up coming and going out when I was 20 years old to gay bars. Grew up in Miami. I was young. I was thin, super skinny, probably too skinny, platinum blonde hair. I would go out. I was considered a twink back then. And, there's a specific type of guy that likes twinks and stuff. So I would always get attention from those guys. And I was always a little loud and maybe not, I want to say obnoxious, but of course, I'm sure I was. I was living in South Beach, going out 6 to 7 nights a week. There was something going on every single night. And it was so fun to do that. And I would love to go back to those college days, living in South Beach and just experiencing that whole entire environment again, just for a few days. I think that's all I could handle of it right now. But as you, and I remember also whenever I was at that age, I was in my 20s, even when I moved to New York when I was like 24 or 25, and I was out in bars and stuff. And I remember like looking at guys or meeting somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I'm, I don't know, let's say that they were at 35. I'm thinking, damn, that's old. And then if you met somebody that was in their 40s, I remember thinking like, oh my God, that is like real, like these people, why are they even here? Shouldn't they be at home? Shouldn't they? Yet, I was 24, 25 thinking this, never thinking that I was going to be there myself one day. And I really I wasn't mean to people, but I just felt like these are old men. Like a friend of mine, Matt, had a roommate. I think he must have been in his late 40s and Matt was my age at the time, in his early 20s, lived in South Beach. And his friend was, had money because he was older and they had a beautiful apartment that he was sharing with him. And so, but I remember like going over there and there would be like dinner parties. And like, this is so fancy. Like I'm 22 and like coming to this sit down dinner party. And then you find out it's like they want you to donate money for a charity. It's like, I'm in college. I don't have any money for this. But that guy just felt so old to me. And even today, like if I think what he looked like, I think he looked so much older and acted so much older. I mean, there's probably at least a 20-year age difference, and that's huge. And I don't know. I didn't make fun of old people who I thought was old at the time, but I did just kind of like, I didn't necessarily like want to be their best friend and stuff. I think like 30, even at that point, when you're like 22 or 23, like 30 even kind of feels old to you. And I think this is like what everybody thinks. And there's a point where you are getting older. And I remember whenever I was like in my 30s, I definitely felt different. Something like switched. I remember I was living in New York City. I was in my early 30s. And I remember going out I had a big group of friends in New York, and we were all out, and we never, I don't know, it was the same group of friends every weekend, and it was a really big group, and I loved those days too. Not as much as college days, but it was just a different love. And we would go out, and I remember being out one night, and God, where were we at? I think we were at Wonder Bar in New York City. And I remember looking around and like, we weren't the ones getting like all the attention from the guys because we were in our 30s, is what my thinking was. I still think we were cute, we were dressed well, all that stuff was still there. But there was just kind of, I don't know, like that's when it hit me like, oh my God, like I'm not super young anymore, even though like 32 or 33 is still pretty young, I think. But I'm like, yeah, we're adults now in some way. And I'm going to go back to that adult comment in a little bit. But that was the first time where I'm like, oh shit, I'm getting old. And again, being 32 is not old at all. And then there's times whenever I have gone out. I remember moving back to Miami from New York. This was after like 9/11. Me and my husband moved to Miami. We bought a house. I was going out in South Beach again, not 6 or 7 nights a week like I was then, because I was in my mid 30s, I guess, and going to the same places that we were going to Twist and going to, I think Warsaw was gone, but going to Salvation, maybe Salvation, the club was still there. All these clubs and bars we were going to whenever I was in college, we were still going to if they were around. And I definitely remember like having a moment where I'm like, oh shit, like it's weird. Like it hits you as a gay man when you see all these younger kids. I mean, that's what they seemed to me at the time. Even though let's say I was 35 and I was seeing these 21-year-olds come in, I'm just like, oh Lord, like who do they think they are? And I was like, they annoyed me. I'm like, they're not cute. And they were so bitchy and stuff, but bitchy in a way that the same way I was when I was that age. They weren't bitchy with us. They were just like walking around. They just thought that they were the shit and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know. We were the old school queens at that point, we felt. And we weren't even the old school queens because, the people that were in their 40s when we were in our 20s were still hanging out in there. And I clearly remember this. Me and my friend Tony, my friend Eddie, we were at this club called Amnesia. It was like a Sunday afternoon, early evening, outdoor. It was like this club that was like open air club. They had foam parties and stuff there, and we'd go every Sunday. And then our friend Scott, who had an apartment across the street, would have a party afterwards, and we'd go to Scott's house. And it was just like the party would continue. And then we'd end up going to Twist and doing all these other things. But I remember me and Tony were dancing at Amnesia, and we looked across the dance floor, and there was these two guys. They were probably in their, I would guess, I remember exactly what they looked like, but I would guess maybe they were in their mid 40s. And I'm like, we both said kind of at the same time, if that is me when I'm in my 40s, just fucking kill me. Just like, I do not want to be an old troll, what we said, as two bitchy 20-something-year-olds. I don't want to be an old troll here still looking for some dick or looking to make friends. Like if you're old like that, you should be at home or having dinner parties or something. Like we were so cunty and stuff. And we weren't cunty to their face. We were just like saying that. And it's crazy. And then like, there was a guy that, oh God, there was this group of people that would have parties at their houses. And it was like, maybe 6 different houses, and like every weekend there would be a different party at a different house. And me and my friend Tony would go. And it turned out to be like the same group of people that would go to these parties. And there were some hot fucking guys at these parties. And we would walk in thinking that we're all the shit as these early 20-year-olds. And there was this 2 guys that really liked Tony, and they were so fucking beautiful. They were Cuban guys. They were so nice looking. And he was going to go hook up with one of them. And then you know who liked me? This always happened to me. The people that liked me were always the old fucking rich. And I don't mean old meaning 40. I mean, this guy was probably like 65, had a shitload of money. But like, I remember like running around like the island in the kitchen because he was trying to like fucking touch me and wanted to kiss me and stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not into you. And every party, it was like him chasing me. And then there was somebody that I dated, and I'm not going to out him. And we'll be right back. Okay, now back to the show. He was a local celebrity, I'll just say, in Miami. And I didn't really date him. I would just see him out at bars. He was probably in his mid 40s at the time, maybe early 40s. Very, very well known in Miami. And I just would make out with him just because of who he was. Um, we never slept together. I lied a few times about, oh, my car got broken into. And I don't know. I would like lie because I didn't want to stay in the night with his house. 'Cause I didn't really find him. I mean, he was cute. I just didn't find him attractive. I didn't want to sleep with him because he was like in his 40s and I was in my 20s. I just felt like he was an old, old man. And yeah, so I'd always have these older men that were into me and they were always had a lot of money. And Tony always references this. He's like, you could have had like 3 trust funds today. Like you didn't have to work your whole life. Like if you would have just like slept with 1 or 2 of them and just like got a trust fund out of them or something or got money from them, like you wouldn't even had to have gone to you could have finished college and then just like lived with them. One of them was gonna like wanted me said I could stay at their they had an apartment on South Beach and told me I could like stay there if I wanted to, like live there because they were only using it on the weekends. But that means on the weekends he would want to come and stay there and he'd want to have sex and stuff. And I was not into that. So I didn't do it. All that being said, I remember the first time that I really like was out. I was in New York City and I was out with my friends at a bar, going back to that story. And I really remember like looking at these like younger guys thinking like, oh fuck, we're so old now. And we were only in our 30s. And then there were times as you got older and you would, you don't go out every weekend even. Sometimes you're just like, I'm doing a Netflix night or whatever it was back then. Or we would just go to dinner and go to drinks and have a drink or two afterwards. And we wouldn't have to stay out till 4 a.m. Even though there were still lots of those nights in our 40s. But once you're in your 40s, like you kind of start to chill out and you don't need to go out as often and you have a limited group of friends and you start to weed people out. And I don't know, people also die. Like we lived in South Beach in the 90s, so people were dying or there was no social media in the 90s also. So who knows where half those people even are now. I would love to know where there's certain people that I would love, love, love to know where they are. There's a guy named Brian. I just don't know his last name. We would hang out with him every single night when we lived in South Beach. And he was so cute. He was a blonde guy and I wasn't even into blondes, but he was so sweet. And I just wish I knew his name. Maybe he's listening to the show. So Brian, if you're listening to my podcast, DM me on Instagram because I would love to know what you're doing. And then there is a friend that I have named Alex that like, I cannot find him either. I can't find him anywhere. And I would love to know where he is and what he's doing. I knew his last name and I can't remember it now. He was one of the first guys I actually had sex with too. So yeah, but I would love to know where is he at? And I know people that know him and they don't really know or they don't tell me. Like it just, I don't know. It's weird. But going back to my whole age thing, gay men are also so super vain. And if you like look at guys, I don't know, gay men have more time to kind of take care of themselves, I guess. They don't have to like worry about kids, their bodies and their face and everything they do is just, it's just so important. If you think about when you go as a gay man going to a gym and seeing all the other guys, especially if you're going to a gym that's got a lot of gay clientele, then it's tough. You feel like you're being judged a lot of times. You feel like maybe, like when I was going to Equinox in the Seaport and I'd go before I'd go to my corporate office job that was across the street, I would go at 5:30 in the morning and like everybody in that gym was like a fucking supermodel. And it's still like that. Boston and Equinox, if you're visiting Boston and you want to see hot guys, go to the Boston Equinox. Every guy there is super fucking beautiful and hot. And I remember like after that I had to take a shower and I'm like, I would hurry up and like get undressed and like run to the shower because like I did not want anybody seeing my skinny little body because I was like so kind of like ashamed of it because all these guys like had 6 and 8 packs and they were all so buff and hot and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. Our community really is the gay community for a lot of gay communities, not every gay community, but a lot of gay communities are really kind of built on youth and beauty and your body. And, I think a lot of that's changed a little bit over the years because now you have different kind of cultures in the gay community. So if you think about bears, like bears obviously are the guys that are usually a little overweight or very overweight, and they're definitely hairy. And a lot of times they'll have beards and mustaches and stuff. And so they don't necessarily care what their body looks like and stuff. I mean, maybe they're taking care of their skin, but usually they have like facial hair and stuff. So I guess it's not every gay man, but I think a lot of typical gay guys do really take care of themselves. Again, I'm not bashing bears because I love bears. I love everybody in the LGBTQ plus community, but I think that people like me go too far taking care of themselves with all the skincare regimens and facials and manicures and pedicures and dyeing my hair and getting highlights and all this shit. Like I probably go a little too far with it. Again, I just got microneedling with salmon sperm on my face for the second time in the last 2 months, just a few weeks ago. So, and I have a third one. And then after that, I'm going to do some laser. Like, I know I do too much and I am fighting the aging process, but it makes me feel good whenever I go out places. I go out with friends and meet new people and I say, oh, they're like, how old are you? I'm like, oh, I'm 53. They're like, no way. I thought you were, I mean, 35 is a stretch, but people have said, I really thought you were like 35, whether they're being sincere or not. I don't think I look 53. I don't think I look 35 either, but I'll take the 35. I mean, that's very nice. And then I think a lot of people, kind of struggle as they get older. At one point, I mean, I always will take care of my skin. I think taking care of your skin is important. I'll always, you know, do facials, always probably do lasers. I will never do plastic surgery or anything like that. Like, I'm not into that. I don't think I'll get fillers ever. Botox, great. I do that every 3 months. That's just preventing wrinkles and stuff. So that I think is acceptable. But I see some people that do like these fillers and they're filling in their face and stuff. And I think it's too much. But you do you. Like, I mean, if that's what you like, to do it. I mean, I'm probably going to judge you, but if it's bad, but whatever. If you like it and it's not hurting anybody else, then do it. I did lip filler. That's the only filler I would do. I wouldn't do any other filler. There was a guy whenever I was living in South Beach. I'm trying to think what his name was. He was a model. He was kind of a famous model, but he had chest implants put in, like to make his chest big. And this was in the 90s. So this was like, we always like, how does that work? But his body was amazing. But the rumor was, I should say, he had chest implants put in. I think he died actually. Maybe he died from plastic surgery or something. Who knows? And we'll be right back. Okay, now back to the show. Getting old when you're a straight man, I think a lot of straight men just kind of do it, and they get older. I think there's a lot of metrosexual guys that do take care of themselves more than maybe straight men 20 years ago. But I don't think there's as much pressure. And I think men age better actually than women do a lot of times. And not to be stereotypical, but that's said a lot of times. Like, if you look at, like, in Hollywood, they're like, oh yes, Brad Pitt is aging so well. He looks great. And if you look at a woman that's the same age, they're like not giving her any roles and stuff. And it's horrible that that's how the world is and how Hollywood is. But I think that's just how it is. But gay men aging, it feels like women, straight women and gay men have kind of similar, because, straight women are trying to prevent themselves from aging too. They're doing their skincare routines and doing facials, and some are getting some plastic surgery, and they're trying to fight time as well. So I get it. You don't want to look old. I don't want to look old. I'm doing everything I can to try to, prevent it from happening as much as I can. But one day I'm going to have to be like, all right, this is it. I'm going to eventually get that first wrinkle when the Botox isn't working as good anymore. And I'll deal with that when that happens. But right now, I'm fighting it good, and no wrinkles still. And I'm 53 and putting salmon sperm with the microneedling on my face. And I also just bought this stuff. I'll tell you, it's kind of crazy that I bought this. When I was getting my microneedling, my salmon sperm facial, the woman's like, we just got this new product in that you have to try. I'm like, all right, what is it? Tell me about it. She goes, it's called Plated. So I'm giving a little bit of a plug for this. And I have not used this product yet. I'm starting to use it this weekend. It's called Plated. And basically, what they do is they go to these like 18 to 20-year olds and they take their platelets out because they're young platelets, and they're taking them and putting them into this cream that you're putting in your face daily, twice a day. And it's called exomes or something. I read the website, can't remember exactly, but supposedly this is supposed to like help slow down the aging process. It's supposed to really hydrate your skin. It's supposed to, if you have any fine lines and wrinkles, it's supposed to help with that. It's supposed to get rid of any dark spots or redness you have. All these things that they've done, clinical trials that they've done with this stuff. And so, of course, I had to buy it. It was like $385 for this one bottle. And then I got the eye cream too. I don't even know. Like, it's just, I'm such a sucker. And I spend so much fucking money on skincare stuff. And I really hope that it works one day. And I just hope it just keeps me looking young. And I hope it just makes me continue to be happy with the way I look. So, and I think that's just like what every gay man goes through, and every straight woman probably goes through as well. You're trying to fight the aging process, and you do what you can do, and you never want to be called old, and you have that moment in your life where you're like, oh my God, I have all these friends that are younger than me, or I'm not the youngest person in the office anymore. I remember that happening to me whenever I was working in corporate, and not at my last job, but maybe the job before. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm not the youngest guy, the fun guy anymore. I am actually one of the older people in the office now. And so that's a thing that hits you too. So it's not just being at the clubs and being in bars and being in the gay community, but you do go through a phase where you're like, shit, like I'm one of the older people in the office now. Like, am I still the cool one? Maybe I'm not anymore. So all these things happen like for everybody. So this is not just LGBTQ plus community. I think it's across the board. One of my managers who also would love to stay young for her entire life, I know she has gone through this as well, where she's like, I'm forever 35 or 32 or whatever she says. And she tries to take care of herself and keep herself young and tries to dress younger. That's the one thing that I always want to make sure that I don't do. I never want to dress not my age. Like, even though I'm 53, I dress well, but I know I'm not 23. So I'm not dressing like a 23-year-old, because a 23-year-old and a 53-year-old that both like designer labels and both have like having a good style, it's a very different dress. And I see people that are out that are in their 40s or 50s trying to dress like a 20-something-year-old. And I'm like, that's not you anymore. So like dress your age. I think that's super important. I also see a lot of women that are out and they're wearing clothes that don't necessarily fit them well for their body type, or they're wearing something that's not age appropriate anymore. Maybe they can't get away with a midriff anymore because they have that, spare tire and their mirror lies to them every time they leave. But I really try to evaluate myself before I put something on. If something feels a little tight or something feels too big, because I've gone through both of those things, then I don't wear it. I just went through and got rid of all these sweaters that I had from as we switch over to summer that were too big for me and gave them to my husband, because I'm like, it looks like I'm homeless because this sweater is like 2 sizes too big. They were all extra large when I was a little porky pig. And so I'm never going to get there again. So I was going to donate them. And my husband's like, no, I'll take them. And so I gave them to him because he's a little bit of a porky pig right now, but I love my little porky pig. And yeah, and that's just, I think trying to keep fit also is an important thing as we get older, as a gay man or a straight man or a straight woman. And I think it's just, aging, it kind of sucks. But at the same time, I'll say that aging sucks. I also have been reflecting on, I'm glad I'm in the age I am, because with all this stuff that's coming out with AI and just the state of the world, I'm like, I mean, if I was at the beginning of my career now, I would be worried, because I'd be like, AI is taking over all these jobs, all the things that I have done in my career. AI is going to completely take all that stuff over in the next 2, 3, at the most 5 years. Like, they're not going to need all these people. And I'm wondering what's going to happen to these people. What are they going to do for a job? So that's one of the reasons why I'm glad I'm at the age I am, towards the end of my career. I hope I never have to go back to a corporate job. And I hope I can just, really just do this podcast and do some consulting work, maybe start my own company at some point, doing consulting work. And being 53, I don't have like another 20 years ahead of me in my career where I got to worry about AI taking over and I don't have a job. So that's another reason why I'm glad I'm my age. So I would love to go back to college, just for college days, just to kind of go back in time for a few days, maybe go back to whenever I first moved to New York for a few days. But I'm really like happy where I am in my life. I'm happy with the way that my life has progressed. I'm happy as a gay man. I'm happy with having a husband who I love. I feel very fortunate to be in a relationship, especially in today's world. 27 and a half years is definitely an accomplishment, not just for the gay world, but for the straight world too, because people don't stay together like they used to anymore. So, yeah, that's me. That's who I am. That's how I feel about age. And that's how I just kind of feel about the gay community. And I love the gay community. I love the LGBTQ plus community. I could do without all those little 21-year-olds coming in the bar thinking they're cuter than me. But even though they are now, and I'll give them that, but I'll still fucking beat the shit out of them if they say the wrong thing to me. So anyway, that is my podcast for today. Thank you so much for listening. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I am doing this once a week. These new episodes are called This Is Everything. So thanks for listening.